Welcome back to Oldgirlfangirl Radio. I'm your host Vivienne, and today we're talking about Japanese and Korean crossovers, a genre that's turning out to be one of my favorites, honestly, and I hope we get more and more and more forever. So the first one I fell in love with was a Jdrama called I Love You, I as in the anatomy, your body part, which featured Chae-young-hyuk as Teo and Fumi Nikaido as Yuri. The male and the female lead were, I think from the very start, really well matched because the female lead was more timid and the male lead was awkward but still trying because he realized he liked her and he wanted to get to know her better. But either way, Chae-young-hyuk is the Korean male love interest, and if you remember him, he was the second lead in one of my favorite K-dramas, Nevertheless, which features another favorite of mine, Song Kang. Nevertheless gets dragged all the time, and I don't understand why, because it is my favorite K-drama, and one of the K-dramas that really got me by the neck back into K-dramas. And Chae-young-hyuk was the second lead in Nevertheless, and unfortunately for him, he didn't end up with Han So-hee's character, even though he was kind of trying to fight for her hand against Song Kang, which I'm like, hello, have you seen Song Kang? His character was messy as fuck. But for a girl like me who's a bit of a lookist, I was like, well, it makes sense. I'm sorry, he's too fine. However, the more evolved, mature, sensible version of me would have definitely gone for Young-hyuk's character in Nevertheless because, well, he was the healthier pick. But anyway, today we're not talking about Nevertheless. If you haven't, I highly recommend you go to Netflix or Viki. I highly recommend Viki because it's quite cheap actually. It's much cheaper than Netflix. It's £4.69 per month and you get all the C-dramas, K-dramas, Thai dramas, all kinds of East Asian media on there for that lovely price, and they've kept it the same price for, I've been on there for 4 years now? Either way, Young-hyuk is like a puppy. He's so adorable, and his Japanese is actually quite good. But of course, for the show, he had to let all know as if he couldn't speak it that fluently or that easily. Yeah, it just all around that show was really cute, and I loved it so much. It was very heartwarming and wholesome, and I liked that it was kind of sci-fi-esque because she has powers where she can hear people's thoughts, but because his thoughts were in Korean, she couldn't understand it, which was actually quite refreshing because obviously she had had crushes in the past and then she had heard their thoughts and they weren't so nice. So this was a welcome change probably. And I think it was after I Love You, the drama, that I thought to myself, wait a minute, Japan, are we doing this? Because obviously due to the history between South Korea and Japan with its tension, that it would be kind of hard to collaborate more often. But I think they're doing really well right now because they are still doing collaborations. They're very careful with it, but it's still landing really well entertainment-wise. And I'm sure there've been collaborations with Korean and Japanese actors for years before this, but it feels to me kind of like with BL, there's just more and more now. Instead of you get one project here, a couple of years pass, you get another project. So I'm really, really happy with this turn of events. We need more crossovers. I like it when the characters are culturally different because the way the relationship comes out is always quite interesting to watch. Another J-drama that came out with a Korean-Japanese crossover is Romantics Anonymous. Romantics Anonymous is about a chocolatier, the Korean counterpart, the woman, who's afraid of making eye contact, while the main love interest is a future conglomerate heir who doesn't like to be touched. And so they work together to get each other out of their comfort zone, to get used to the things that make them uncomfortable. So for the female lead, it's making eye contact, and for the male lead, it's getting used to being touched. And in a way, it's kind of them being adventurous together. So I think that premise as a whole for the story was done really, really well. And you know what? I was having a great old time while I was watching it, but then suddenly they just introduced a whole new factor of having random foreigners in there. It just felt a bit sudden, but it kind of made sense in regard to the chocolatier traveling to Latin America for chocolate or for this special chocolate nut. But for me, it was quite jarring. And also the whole thing where she almost got mugged, it just seemed so out of place. It just kind of took from the story, in my opinion, didn't really add to it. But hey, maybe they're trying to be more inclusive. I don't know. Either way, it's a story. I had to skip over those scenes, to be honest. And of course, for the third one, I fell in love with is Gimbap and Onigiri. The plot is an animation student struggles to find a new home and then finds comfort in a simple onigiri made by a local part-time worker in a restaurant. The actors characters are Kang Hye-won, who used to be part of K-pop group IZ*ONE, which is probably the same group that Ives Won-young is from, among other girls. Chaeyoung, who's part of ITZY. I must say the girls from IZ*ONE are doing really well for themselves individually after that group kind of like disbanded, so well done them. Now for the male lead in Gimbap and Onigiri, it's played by Eiji Akaso, who, if you're a BL lover for Joshi, you will know him as Adachi from 30 Years a Virgin Makes You a Wizard. When I first saw the scene and saw his face, I literally screamed, "I know you. Is that Adachi?" Yeah, it was Adachi. I watched him in some other straight rom-com with an older female lead, but I found it was too soon after 30 Years a Virgin Makes You a Wizard, the BL, so I wasn't able to separate him from his BL work. My brain kept thinking, why are you being straight? And why are you cheating on Kurosaki? Honestly, the struggles of being a fujoshi with favorite actors who also do straight work, like struggle time, you know? But IG Akaso, I would say, was phenomenal in Gimbap and Onigiri. As for Hye-won, this was my first time watching her in a drama and she did a beautiful job. Both of them, the chemistry was just right and I got lost in the story. I stopped thinking about Eiji-san being Adachi and instead just focused on both characters. Like, it was super adorable. And I also love that we got to see our girl from Business Proposal. So Hye-won, who, if you recall, in Business Proposal was the crazy best friend, always speaking half Korean, half English. I love her. Like, I keep seeing her in the most random places in K-dramas where I'm not expecting to see her, but all I know is I'm super obsessed with her. Like, she's magnetic. I get super excited when I see her in a drama, even if it's just in a supporting role. And in this show, Gimbap and Onigiri, she's the best friend across the sea. She's in Korea. She's mostly on video. She's only on video. Talking to the character. Same thing, you know, best friends who live in different countries would do. It was adorable and she still carried the role really well. These are, in my opinion, such good shows and I hope they give us more. And if you haven't already, you must watch I Love You, Romantics Anonymous. Although for that one, the male lead, he has charisma. He has the aura of a man in authority because it's the way that he holds himself that makes him hot. However, for the lover girls who are lookists or super big on lookism, when it comes to shows, you might want to prepare yourself because you'll be thinking, oh, he's not a pretty boy, you know, because not everyone's a pretty boy. Like, but I would say still give it a chance because yes, he may not be classically good looking, but I think you're really going to enjoy the show because he has the aura to carry it and you can understand why she would find him sexy. That was my little disclaimer. And of course, for the final recommendation is Gimbap and Onigiri, which has our man Akaso Eiji from 30 Years a Virgin Makes You a Wizard and our girl from IZ*ONE, Kang Hye-won. They both did an absolutely phenomenal job, so I highly recommend. And as an add-on, we're going to talk about the Japanese adaptations of popular K-dramas like Nevertheless and Marry My Husband. I watched the Japanese version of Nevertheless and I kept thinking to myself, okay, you tried, but something's missing, you know? Because Nevertheless, the Korean dramas, the male lead and the female lead were electric together. Han So-hee and Song Kang made that show. And for all the haters of Nevertheless, take a seat. Okay, this is not for you, Jen. Log off here. I'm not here for the plot, okay, for analysis. Okay, we're here for the feels and we're here for the looks of the leads and the chemistry between them two. And I feel like for this show, they had the looks, they had some of the feels, but the cuts and the general feel of tension and chemistry and that pull between the two main characters, it was way off. Like, they had the ingredients, the story, the good-looking male and female lead, but whoever put everything together didn't really know how to cook it well. They didn't know how to cook this show, this adaptation with yearning, intensity, emotion, tension, though I appreciated the effort. Because as an example, the time lapse in Nevertheless, where Nabi and Jaewon, Song Kang's character, was spending a lot of time together after they made love the first time and started their situationship. The way they filmed this scene of Nabi and Jaewon spending time together in bed at Han So-hee's character's home, the way they express that in the K-drama, the way the director, just everything, the music, the shots, the lighting, it felt like you were there. It felt real. You saw the days passing, they were getting closer, how they were holding each other, the close-ups. It was very double, triple, like coded. No one had to say anything. It was all there. But when they tried to recreate that scene in the Japanese version, it was so boxy, so clunky. Like, I'm so sorry. I will give them credit though. Nevertheless, the Japanese version, opening theme, great work. The music was good as well. The male actor was hot. The female actor was pretty and almost kind of just as timid as Nabi. However, when you've had Song Kang and Han So-hee, it's a tough act to follow. It really is. But at least they didn't do a complete copy and paste for every scene. I really like that because that gets boring real quick. Now, in regard to the Japanese version of Marry My Husband, I'll have to say I enjoyed the Japanese adaptation more than the Korean show. I don't know, guys. I can't explain it. I just can't. Like, I got through the Japanese version a lot faster than the Korean version. And I love my girl, Park Min-young. She's the queen of K-dramas, be for real. Right alongside my girl, Song Hye-kyo, of course. But either way, guys, you know what? Check out these adaptations, okay? Surprise yourself, Tell me if you hated it or if you loved it and why. Tell me why I'm wrong. I love this turn of events. I love the Japanese-Korean collaborations in the TV film world. I really, really do. And they just keep coming back one after another from 2024, 25, now 26. Give me more. Pour it into my vein. I think I want to see Song Kang in one of these Japanese crossover shows for sure.
Ooh, that's our Lover Girl session for today. Hope you felt the love we sent your way. For more feels, find me at oldgirlfangirl.com. Find our devotion, we're a totem for your soul. For rainy days and happy days, Read the blue, the tea on BLK, Miss Jdramas or K-pop. Till the next time, old girl fangirl, love won't stop. oldgirlfangirl.com